Hi guys, it's Shami. So I thought today we would make a few watercolor backgrounds because I have a couple ideas that we're going to try. So I am going to be using these Martha Stewart Craft Soft Gel Watercolor Acrylic craft paints, and they're really beautiful. Plaid sent them to me, so I have them in 3 colors, which is awesome. So we are actually going to be trying these out, which I'm super happy about. I also have a set of the Martha Stewart water brushes. They come in 3 different sizes, and you just fill them up with water. So you just untwist them up here. I twisted this one really tight. Maybe we'll try another one. They come with a cap, and they come with 2 different size brushes, and then you can just untwist them. But I think I did a really good job of twisting them back. Maybe we won't, but they're just loaded with water. Maybe this one will work a little better. Oh no, okay, sorry, I twisted them too much, but you just untwist them and it's fine. Let's see if I can find something here. I'm gonna grab a paper towel anyway. There we go. Just like that. So there's a hole and you just load them with water. Okay, and then we'll spin it back. So I'm super excited to try these, and they're watercolor craft paints. Isn't that cool? Martha Stewart and Plaid thinks of the coolest things. So we're going to go ahead and do that up. And I saw these. I almost bought them at Michael's. So they're really cool. And they're not very expensive either. I mean, it's really cool. So I thought we would use these for our watercolor backgrounds. We're going to do 2, maybe 3. We'll see. So I'm just going to squeeze them out on my little plate here. Not very much. Very good. And they're kind of like a soft gel, kind of like when you squirt out watercolor paint. So it's very similar, the texture. And then I'm just going to go ahead and activate them with a little bit of water. And this is a watercolor journal. It's a Jane Davenport journal that I got as a gift for a giveaway. So that's pretty cool. So this is watercolor paper, but you could make your own journal and put watercolor paper in it, or just get a journal that had watercolor paper in it. That would work well too. So let's do a little bit of decorating here. We're going to use the round tip. This is the medium size because this one's smaller, so that's what we'll use. And this is kind of like called connect the dots, like that, just a little bit. And how you get it loaded up is you just press very gently on this barrel part, and then it loads up with water. It goes through, and my brush is wet. Okay, and you just kind of keep adding it until you have the consistency that you want. And actually, I think maybe I'm going to use a smaller brush for this one. Perfect. And if it's not on there very good, then you will get some leakage, but that's normal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm just going to put dots of color. You do want them to run a little bit though. Just random dots. And I just work in a little area at a time. Let's try this red color. And they have a whole bunch of beautiful colors in this paint. So there's a lot you can do with it. Oops. And there's a little bit coming out of the barrel, and that's just because I didn't screw it on very well. I think I added a little too much water, but normally that's not a problem. It hasn't been a problem before, so very good. And then let's do the blue one. And to clean out your brush, you just add a little bit of water and just keep until you get most of the red off. I don't mind if there's a little bit of red on there, though. Okay, we're going to go ahead and squeeze gently, if I can do that. I kind of have a heavy hand with things, so I usually use a brush for most of my work, just because I have a heavy hand, but these watercolor brushes are really cool. Okay, and then we are just going to do kind of like a connect the dots kind of thing, right? So you just want to get the puddles, and you're going to Maybe add a little bit of water there. And it kind of spring backs a little. You do have to work fairly quickly because you don't want your petals to dry. And we just go from one dot to the next. It's really cool. It's kind of like connect the dots, like that game. You can add more water if you need to. Of course, my blue is contaminating things, but it looks really cool nonetheless. It's really interesting. Very cool. And a little bit of the colors travel. So it's really cool. And imagine this would be such a cool background in a journal. Very cool. So that's like the first one, and then you just continue to work down the page. So let's maybe do a few more dots if we can here. There we go. And I do like to add a bit more water. And now we're going to do our blue. Cool. Okay, and then we can connect the dots if we wanted then. Just going to get rid of that kind of bluer color. Let's go into our green here. So it's really a fun kind of page, and this is a fun way to use those paints. And I'm so excited to use them in other projects. I think it's a really interesting product. I wonder how they would perform on wood. I think it'd be really cool to make like a little bird or something on a piece of wood with the paint. So we're going to go ahead and see how it kind of springs back the blue. It's very cool. You get some really interesting patterns and colors. There we go. Just like that. Very cool. So you can just keep building up your page. I would probably stop here, but it's really, really interesting and I like it. So that's one kind of background that you can make. Cool. And it's kind of like connect the dots. Like if you're in America, I'm sure you played that game when you were little. I bet they have it in other countries too. Very cool. So you just let that dry and you get this really cool looking background, which is awesome. Okay. And another thing that we can do is we can do kind of an ombre look, which is really cool. So we'll do that one. Just trying to see here because I did do, like this is kind of the ombre one. Once it's dry, I just tested it out on a smaller piece of paper and it's really interesting. So you can do something like that. There's just a whole bunch of cool ways that you can make really cool backgrounds with this beautiful watercolor. So I'm just going to look here because I did do a sample of the dot one too for you guys to see. But I moved stuff around my desk, so I don't think I have it, but it will dry in a second. You'll be able to see. Very cool. Okay, so let's try another one. Okay. For this one, we are going to get our background fairly wet. I'm going to use 2 different colors here. Okay, let's go ahead. And you do want to work on watercolor paper. I think it just makes your life a little easier. So we're going to use this, and I'm going to be using some blue paint for this project. It seems like that came down really a lot. Okay, very cool. Okay. And we're going to go in and just paint the whole thing in blue. Okay. And we just want the color to kind of go all over the place here. Just going to grab something. Anything right now? Okay. Kind of protect my cover a little bit. Okay, we can squeeze a little bit and push and get that water going. And it does have a little sign on there that says push, which is nice. And we want to keep everything really wet. So I'm applying color, but I still want things really nice and wet. And all the things that I'm doing with these paints, you could also do with regular watercolors too. So don't let that discourage you. If you want to play a little bit until you can get the paints, then go for it. Just want to make sure that I have enough water on here. Alrighty. Okay, so what we can do is we can even spray this because I do want it wet. Okay, and then if you want to, of course, with watercolor, I'm sure you guys know this, you can dab, and that gets rid of some of your, it just gives it a really cool effect. So if we go here, maybe just pick up just a little bit of color in places, we can lighten it just by bouncing it on there. Okay, and then so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to take some of our green paint here. We're going to push on that, get it going. And this has to be wet. Okay, and we're going to go in and press and add like interesting little drops on it. So you get 2 kind of interesting colors, and it looks really cool. If this was totally straight, then it would be in a round shape instead of spooning over. Kind of looks like tie-dye. I really like the look of it. And of course, it's going to dry lighter. And the more pigment you use and the less water, the more you'll be able to see the color. Very cool. So it just kind of makes interesting look. That's kind of cool. Okay, very cool. So that's another one that you could do. Alrighty, and how many? We're at 13 minutes, so I think I'll do those 2, and then I also have another one that I want to show you, but I think I'll do that in another video. So to clean out these brushes, all you're going to do is just squeeze until it doesn't have much pigment on it. This I am totally going to use. I'm not going to let this paint go to waste. I'll rub it on a piece of paper or a baby wipe or something. You do not want to waste color, but you get so much product in this. It's great. And I'm sorry, I didn't tell you the colors of these. So I'm just going to throw this right into the water. I do that with my water brushes just because I think that you need clear water to get all the pigment out. So that's what I'm going to do. This one's pretty good though. So just take your paper towel and you just squeeze and rub back and forth until it's clear. That's how I clean them. I'm sure there's better ways, but I'll tell you the colors. So this is Martha Stewart Crafts Soft Gel Watercolor Acrylic Paint, and this color is Habanero, which is a really pretty kind of pinkish red color. And then we also have this one, which is Granny Smith, really pretty, but they have a bunch of different colors. And then this is navy, and this would be really cool to do lettering in, which I did do that, so I'll show you that in another video too. How to do lettering, and you can use it as the background in your journal too, so that's pretty cool. But it just creates really cool and interesting effects, so I really love it, and it dries really quickly. Like, you can start to see a little bit of how that design's going to be, and it'll dry and it'll be really cool. So hopefully I gave you some ideas. I'll have that other video up maybe on Thursday. Maybe this week will just be watercolor background weeks. But I might do something else. I'll probably do something else and then share the watercolor video with you next week. But there's so many different fun backgrounds that you can make for your journal in watercolor. So I hope that you take out your watercolor paints, or you go get some of these Martha Stewart Plaid soft gel watercolor paints and play, because it's so fun. And I will show you how to do the ombre kind of background. Basically, you use a lot of pigment, and then you keep driving the water down until it's almost white, until you almost don't have any pigment on there. But I will show you how to do that in another video. I just need this to dry, and I don't have an extra journal, so we'll let this dry, and then I will have another video for you guys. But it's fun, because then you can practice these two, and then next week you can do another thing, and you can add things on top of these backgrounds. I'm going to make a video on how I use these backgrounds to inspire me in this journal that I love, that I won in a giveaway. So I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to like and share, and I will see you later. Bye bye.